Bosses don't really care about the worker, so we're out here, breathing this in.
Tonight on Connecticut's news station, downright bad air quality. What to know about how to protect yourselves this evening.
Plus, to add or not to add, red light cameras at the center of conversations and controversies for several cities and towns in Connecticut. We hear from those for and against the new bill that just passed the House and Senate.
What you did on the budget, getting that done on time with such strong bipartisan support, I think sends a message.
And leaving the legislative session, we speak exclusively to the governor on his thoughts as the week wraps up.
Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Jen Bernstein.
And I'm Ben Goldman. We start here with a weather watch alert, taking a live look over Hartford and New Haven. Connecticut making progress here, but the air quality throughout our state still dangerous levels tonight. Around 75 million people in the country right now are experiencing dangerous air conditions.
Yeah, smog swallows the nation capital today. A thick blanket of smoke from the Canadian wildfires making its way to Washington, D.C. City streets exhibiting an almost orange haze here, courtesy of more than 400 fires currently burning across the Great White North. The smoke has been sent as far south as North Carolina. And tonight, the president is speaking out.
It's very important that affected communities listen to the guidance of their state and local officials from this point forward.
Well, from an uptick in emergency rooms to breaking out those N95 masks, the impacts of unhealthy air over Connecticut are still being examined. One thing is for certain, though, if you're among the vulnerable, health officials say that you should not be going outside. Yeah,
Fox 61's Samaya Hernandez caught up with the Connecticut Health Commissioner and joins us live from UConn Health, where an air filter giveaway is underway right now. Samaya.
Jen and Ben, we used to see these mask giveaways, and we could be seeing them come back. That is, if we continue to be impacted by this wildfire air. Now, right now, UConn Health is giving away air filters to help.
I'm just making it work.
When working outdoors in unhealthy air isn't an option.
It's a little heavier on the chest when you go home at night.
Road work underway in Newington as smoke particles from Canadian wildfires blanket Connecticut for several days.
Bosses don't really care about the worker, so we're out here, breathing this in.
With the official start of summer less than 2 weeks away, some want to be outside, like one of more than a dozen artists working on a mural for Hartford's Juneteenth event on the 18th.
I would rather take preventative measures than have to deal with some consequences later down the road.
If you have been having headaches or other symptoms, have burning in your throat, that chest tightness, you really want to get out of the outside. You want to get back inside.
Health Commissioner Manisha Jutani says children, seniors, and people with lung challenges should be inside when air quality levels are unhealthy. Jutani's department is working to get some of the more than 6 million K and N95 masks from the pandemic out of storage and into communities. The same masks used to prevent the spread of COVID-19, now recommended to stop smoke particles from reaching lungs.
We do see a little bit of a bump with more people over the last 2 or 3 days presenting with respiratory symptoms to our emergency departments.
And if you fall into that vulnerable category, the health commissioner encourages you to check the air quality before you leave your home and bring a mask if it is unhealthy. If you don't know how to do that, just head to fox61.com and we'll link you. In Farmington, I'm Samaya Hernandez, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
A lot of people breaking out those face masks, Samaya. Thank you very much. The smoke also sidelined some high school sports in our state as well. The Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Conference postponed several state championships this afternoon because of the poor air quality. That includes the boys and girls lacrosse tournaments. The CIAC is now working to reschedule the games and matches for tomorrow.
Well, Hartford Healthcare held a demonstration today to show the effects of labored breathing due to the unhealthy air quality across Connecticut. The organization used a high-tech mannequin to show the signs and symptoms of labored breathing. Dr. Annamaya Singh, who works at Hartford Hospital, spoke about the importance of protecting yourself if you have to go outside.
If you have to go outside, then try to have a mask, a simple mask, an air scarf, an N95, whatever you might have handy.
Dr. Singh said staying indoors until the smoke clears is the best option.
Let's get to the weather watch here. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us now. I think the question everyone wants to know outside of the weekend is when's this foggy, hazy air going to go away, Rach?
Here's the good news. We are already starting to see baby steps towards improvement. Yay. That being said, the air quality is still pretty bad outside, but at least we are moving the needle in the right direction. So we have this weather watch alert continue right through the evening tonight. We're going to reevaluate tomorrow, but right now, DEEP is thinking heading into the day tomorrow that the air quality may improve enough for people to resume outdoor activities unless you fall into one of those sensitive groups. For example, if you have respiratory problems like asthma, you may continue to have problems outside tomorrow. But we are, again, moving the needle in the right direction. Unhealthy air quality where you see the red color for most of the state. But recently, just in the last hour or so, we've seen the levels begin to drop for parts of northwestern and also northeastern Connecticut. We'll take what we can get. And looking at the guidance, we continue to pull in cleaner air from the north as we head into the morning tomorrow, and especially by afternoon, with a heavier smoke plume continuing just to the south and east of Connecticut. It may not be until the weekend that we truly kick the smoke, though. We're also timing out the chance for a scattered shower or thunderstorm tomorrow. Your full forecast coming up.
Thank you, Rachel. Well, a driving instructor is accused of asking his student inappropriate questions during lessons. The student told police that Theodore O'Hanlon asked her where she lived during their lesson back in November of 2022. When she refused, the student said he got the address from her learner's permit and started looking up her address. Police say O'Hanlon then asked her if she needed drugs and if she was a virgin. O'Hanlon turned himself into state police on Monday.
As the Vision Zero bill passed the House and Senate with bipartisan support, several towns and cities are now having conversations on whether they should implement red light cameras or not. One city that is ready to try those cameras out is the city of Waterbury. That's where we find Fox 61's Carmen Chow to explain where these cameras will be placed. Carmen?
And Jen, the police chief says there's been a lot of tragic crashes and accidents in Waterbury for the past several years. And one of those intersections in Waterbury where we're seeing a lot of those accidents and crashes is here on East Main Street. And the chief thinks these cameras, if installed, will save a lot of lives. With 169 municipalities in Connecticut, the Brass City is ready to make changes that will hopefully lower the number of fatalities. Waterbury Police Chief Fernando Spagnolo believes reckless driving is a factor.
You know, I find myself, even with these newer vehicles at the infotainment center and even with using a hands-free cellular phone, there's just a lot going on.
It is not certain where these red light cameras will specifically be placed, but the East Main Street corridor is an option, in addition to state roads and state routes.
I think that you're going to see these cameras placed on heavy arteries of traffic, areas that may be very well commercial or industrial.
To ensure the accuracy of these cameras, it will take pictures of the car before and after the violation. The information will then get sent to the third-party company who will vet the information. And lastly, it will be sent over to the city who will finalize the information, who will ultimately decide if a ticket should be issued. Despite the bill being passed, it is still being met with concerns by the ACLU, who said in part, quote, "We remain skeptical of red light cameras because of their potential to increase policing, including racist targeting of black and brown communities. We will be monitoring the bill's implementation if it becomes law." The chief also telling me they plan on installing these cameras as quickly as possible, hopefully by the end of the year. I'm live in Waterbury. Carmen Chow, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station. Jen, back to you.
All right, Carmen, thank you. Well, new at 6, some UConn students who vandalized campus during the NCAA men's basketball championship celebration have been expelled. The university's president said the damage was done by only a few people, but there was a lot of it. Among the worst incidents, one car was overturned and a light post was torn down and then used as a battering ram to break windows. UConn says an investigation is still ongoing.
Well, it has been almost a year since Randy Cox was paralyzed while under the custody of New Haven Police Department. Last night, 2 of the 5 officers involved were fired by the Board of Police Commissioners. And tonight, we're hearing from Cox's attorney and police for the first time since that decision. Fox 61's New Haven County Bureau reporter Julia LeBlanc joining us now live outside of police headquarters. Julia.
Hi, Ben. Good evening to you. We spoke on the phone this morning with Randy Cox's attorney here in New Haven, and he says Cox is pleased about the decision to fire officers Jocelyn Lavendier and Luis Rivera. However, he is disappointed that it took so long to come to that decision. And the mayor tonight is saying that good decisions like this one take a long time.
The video doesn't lie. I watched it over and over again.
New Haven Police Chief Carl Jacobson made the recommendation after a lengthy internal affairs investigation to fire all 5 officers involved in the Randy Cox case. Wednesday night, the Board of Police Commissioners terminated 2 of them, Officers Luis Rivera and Jocelyn Lavendier. Sergeant Betsy Segui and Officer Oscar Diaz will face their fate soon. And Ronald Presley retired, so he can't be disciplined.
I want to tell the police officers I support them. But you can't treat the community without respect and dignity. And when someone says their neck is broken, you can't just drag them out of the van.
Last June, Randy Cox was being transported in a police van without seatbelts when the driver stopped short, sending him flying into the back of the van. Cox complained to officers, saying he couldn't move. The video shows them dragging him into a cell as he waited for medical help. Later, doctors said the incident left him paralyzed from the chest down.
The chief made his recommendation, and I think that the police commission made the right decision to follow the chief's recommendation.
All 5 officers were put on administrative leave and charged in November with reckless endangerment and cruelty to persons, both misdemeanors. At the same time, Cox's attorneys filed a $100 million lawsuit against the city, one the mayor hopes they can come close to an agreement on in a settlement conference on Friday.
I anticipate a dialogue and am optimistic that we can find a pathway to settle on the civil side.
Now, Julia, have you heard from civil rights attorney Ben Crump, because he's representing Randy Cox?
Yeah, he is, and he's very vocal about this case in particular. Ben Crump did send us a statement in regard to the news, telling us, quote, while this decision is a step in the right direction, it is important to stress that full justice in this case will be achieved only when there are criminal convictions, civil accountability, and changes in the law. Now, I do want to note, we also reached out to the attorneys for all 5 of the officers, both on email and by phone, but I never heard back from any of them. In the meantime, the last 2 officers will have their hearing on June 28th, so we'll see if the board makes the same decision with those 2 remaining officers. We're live here in New Haven tonight. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
More to come on that. Julia, thank you very much. Well, New Haven police have arrested a man they're accusing of murder back in 2020. Police say Jonathan Frater of Hartford shot and killed Tylee Bellamy on Gray Street. The victim's family thanking police for their work before asking change from their community, asking them to speak up when they see something. Crystal Woodhouse had Tylee at 15 years old, and she buried him 2.5 years ago.
And a lot of people don't understand being a young mother, a black mother, trying to raise your boys in this world today is so hard. This right here is not what I wanted for them.
Frater is now facing murder and several other charges.
Still ahead here on Connecticut's news station.